Hello, I'm Jerry, and welcome to Model Restorations. So, have you ever heard someone say, "Man, I remember when model kits were only 99 cents, or maybe $1.40 or something like that." Or maybe you said it yourself. I know I certainly have. Now, I don't remember them being 99 cents. When we think back to the hobby in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and maybe even into the 80s, it's easy to remember those little price stickers. 79 cents, $1.19, and $1.98. Even $3 seemed expensive. Then we walk into a hobby shop today. $35, $45, sometimes over $60. It's enough to make you wonder, what the heck happened? Did model companies just get greedy? Did plastic become outrageously expensive? Or were those old kits not nearly as cheap as we remember? Today, we're going to try to answer that question. Not with guesses, not with memories, but by looking through original catalogs, advertisements, old hobby magazines, and comparing those prices with today's dollars. And I think the answer might just surprise you. But before we get into the numbers, let's take a little trip back. If you're anything like me, walking into a hobby shop wasn't just going shopping. It was a total event. The walls were lined floor to ceiling with colorful boxes. Monogram, Revell, AMT, MPC, Lindberg, Johann. Every one of those box tops promised an adventure. And if you were lucky enough to have $3, man, you felt rich. But here's something interesting. Most of us don't actually remember what kits cost. We remember what they felt like. I remember stories about buying a Revell hot rod for 98 cents or grabbing an AMT annual for under $2. Those numbers stick in our minds because they seem impossibly cheap today. But there's another side to that story. Back then, a dollar wasn't just a dollar. It represented real buying power. Let's start with one of the biggest years in modeling, 1960. Plastic modeling was absolutely exploding. Model companies were introducing new kits almost monthly. Cars changed every year, which meant annual kits were everywhere. Revell was producing aircraft, ships, and cars, while AMT was beginning to dominate the automotive subjects. Then you had Monogram, who was gaining a reputation for detail, and Aurora had everything from monster kits to historical figures. If you walked into your local hobby shop in 1960, you'd probably find most automobile kits selling somewhere between $1.49 and $1.98, with larger, more detailed kits costing a bit more. Aircraft, ships varied by size, while premium or larger scale kits could push beyond that range. Now, that sounds unbelievably cheap. But here's where things get interesting. What was a dollar worth back then? The federal minimum wage in 1960 was $1 per hour. So let's think about that. If a kit cost $1.98, you had to work almost 2 hours at minimum wage just to buy it. But the amount of work required to earn that kit isn't nearly as different as many of us imagine. Here's another way to put it into perspective. In 1960, a gallon of gas was around 31 cents. A loaf of bread, 20 cents. The average new home sold for around $12,000. Everything seems unbelievably inexpensive until you remember that the average annual household income was only a little over $5,000. Wow. So while that $1.79 model kit sounds like pocket change today, back then it was a meaningful purchase. For many kids, it represented weeks of allowance. Maybe a few lawns mowed, a paper route, or maybe convincing mom or dad to stop by the hobby shop after a good report card. The early 1960s became what many collectors now call the golden age of plastic models. Every major company was trying to outdo the others. Annual automobile kits, drag cars, custom versions, stock versions, competition kits, show rods, military vehicles, aircraft, ships, space subject, television tie-ins, movie tie-ins. The shelves just kept growing. And the amazing part? Most families could still justify buying one every now and then. Model building wasn't just a hobby, it was an affordable entertainment. For the price of a trip to the movies, you could bring home something that would keep you busy for days, maybe weeks, if you really took your time. But here's something I don't think gets talked about enough. When you bought a model kit in 1960, that was just the beginning. You still needed glue, paint, brushes, sandpaper, maybe putty if you were doing a custom deal. And then by the time you finished, that $1.79 kit may represent $3 or $4 invested. And suddenly, it wasn't quite the bargain our memories make it out to be. So were model kits really cheap in 1960? Absolutely. But they weren't cheap in the way we think about them today. They were affordable, but they still required saving up. Most kids didn't walk out with 5 kits every Saturday. 1 kit, maybe 2, was a pretty exciting day. And honestly, maybe that's part of what made them so special. But then something happened. The hobby absolutely exploded. Muscle cars were everywhere. Television was changing. Companies like AMT, MPC, Revell, and Monogram were introducing incredible new kits every year. The real automakers rolled out their brand new models, and just a few months later, AMT, Johan, MPC, and Revell had them sitting on hobby shop shelves. Imagine that today. A brand new Corvette comes out, and within months you can build one in plastic. That was an incredible time to be a modeler. Back then, there was fierce competition between the model companies. AMT wanted the most accurate annuals. Johan often beat everyone to market with the latest Mopars and Oldsmobiles. Revell concentrated on quality engineering, and Monogram became known for exceptional detail. Then MPC burst onto the scene with wild custom parts, bright decals, drag racing options, and eye-catching box art. As builders, we were the winners. Every year brought something new. As we moved to the late 1960s, models kit prices slowly increased. A kit that sold for around $1.79 a few years earlier might now be priced closer to $2.49 or $2.98. Nobody really panicked after all. Everything was getting a little more expensive. The increase seemed gradual, and the hobby was still affordable compared to many other pastimes. And here's something most of us never really thought about as kids. A model company wasn't just selling plastic. They had to pay for designing the kit, cutting expensive steel molds, packaging, printing colorful box art, shipping, advertising, licensing in some cases, the employees' wages, the factory costs, the warehousing, the distributor cost, and finally, the shabby hop had to make enough profit to keep the lights on. So when you consider everything that went into a $2 model kit, it's actually remarkable they sold them for so little. Now comes one of the biggest turning points in the history of our hobby. If you were building models in the early 1970s, you probably remember the hobby still feeling affordable. But then, quite quickly, prices seemed to jump. What happened? Was it greedy manufacturers? No, not really. The answer was something happening far beyond the hobby industry. In 1973, the world was hit by the oil embargo. Gas stations had long lines. People waited to fill their cars. Gas prices rose dramatically. And because plastic is made from petroleum, model companies suddenly found themselves paying much more for the raw material that every kit depending on. And that wasn't the only problem. Fuel costs increased, shipping costs increased, electricity increased, paper costs increased. Everything became more expensive. And those higher costs eventually found their way onto the price tag of every model kit. I remember when model kit hit $4 and I thought nobody would ever pay that. Sound familiar? At the time, $4 felt really expensive. And yet, even as the prices were climbing, something amazing was happening. The kits themselves were getting better, much better. Engines became more detailed, interiors improved, chrome trees became more elaborate, decals became more colorful, instructions improved. Many kits included optional custom parts, drag racing parts, street machine parts, or stock versions, all in the same box. In other words, you weren't just paying more, you were often getting more. But by the late 1970s, something changed. Prices started climbing faster. A kit that cost around $2 just a few years earlier might now be selling for $4, $5, even $6, depending on the subject and where you bought it from. You started making choices. Do I buy 2 regular kits or that one really nice monogram? By the early 1980s, the hobby itself hadn't changed. Model builders wanted more detail, More realism, better decals, opening hoods, detailed engines, separate suspension parts, rubber tires, photo references. Companies responded. The kits became dramatically better than many of those early annuals, but there was a price. More parts meant more engineering. More engineering meant more expensive tooling. Licensing. Back in the 1960s, car companies were often thrilled to see their vehicles turned into model kits. Licensing either didn't exist in the way it does today or was far less expensive. Today, manufacturers frequently pay licensing fees to automakers, trucking companies, racing organizations, and entertainment companies before a kit even reaches the shelf. That's another cost built into the box that didn't affect many vintage kits. So, final thoughts. Were model kits really cheaper? Yes and no. The price printed on the box certainly was, but once you compare wages, buying power, inflation, and what you're actually getting today, the answer becomes much more interesting. In many ways, plastic modeling remains one of the best values and hobbies. And maybe that's the real story. The price tag has changed, but the feeling hasn't. The excitement of opening a brand new kit, spreading the parts across the table, and imagine what it will look like when it's finished. That's exactly the same feeling we had 60 years ago. And I hope it's a feeling that never goes away. Now I want to hear from you. What was the very first model kit you ever bought? Do you remember how much you paid for it? So coming soon is how to save money on model kits. I go over a few of my favorite ways to save money. So stay tuned. And in the meantime, check out this video.